All right, Chairman.
Thank you. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the second March 14th, 2020 emergency conference call meeting of the North Carolina State Board of Education. I'm Eric Davis, chair of the board, and I call this meeting to order. I now ask Dr. Townsend Smith to call the roll to determine that we have a quorum of the board participating. I note to all listening that a quorum is 7 members. Dr. Townsend Smith.
Yes, sir. Mr. Buxton?
Here.
Dr. Oxendine?
Here.
Ms. Kamnitz?
Here.
Mr. Hall?
Here.
Dr. Tipton Rogers?
Here.
Ms. White?
Here.
Mr. Ford?
Here.
Vice Chair Duncan?
Here.
Chair Davis?
Here.
You have a quorum.
Okay, excellent. Board members are reminded it's our duty to avoid conflicts of interest and the appearance of conflicts of interest as we handle the work of this board. Does any member of the board know of any conflict of interest or any appearance of conflict with respect to any matters coming before us at this meeting? If so, please state them for the record, and if during the course of the meeting you become aware of an actual or apparent conflict of interest, please bring the matter to the attention of the chair. Then be your duty to abstain from participating in the discussion on the matter and voting on the matter. Board members, you've seen the agenda for this meeting and had an opportunity to review it. Ask if there are any requests for changes, and if not, I request a motion for approval of this meeting agenda.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. Motion to approve the agenda by Mr. Buxton. Is there a second?
Second.
Second, Donna.
Second by Dr. Tipton Rogers. Dr. Townsend Smith, will you call the roll to capture the vote?
Yes, sir. Mr. Buxton?
Yes.
Dr. Oxendine?
Yes.
Ms. Kamnitz?
Yes.
Mr. Hall?
Yes.
Dr. Tipton Rogers?
Yes.
Ms. White?
Yes.
Mr. Ford?
Yes.
Vice Chair Duncan?
Yes.
Chair Davis?
Yes.
It's unanimous.
Okay, so, board members, we have one item on our agenda for this meeting, and it concerns the governor's announcement today of school closures beginning March 16th, and specifically a resolution in support of school closures and emergency actions to prepare and respond to the novel coronavirus or COVID-19 issue. I'd like to begin by having the resolution read into the meeting minutes. Dr. Townsend Smith, do we have someone prepared to do that?
Yes, Ms. Kamnitz will read.
Okay, thank you. Ms. King?
Thank you. North Carolina State Board of Education resolution in support of school closures and emergency actions to prepare and respond to the novel coronavirus, COVID-19. Whereas COVID-10 is a respiratory disease that can result in serious illness or death by the SARS-CoV-2 virus, which is a new strain of coronavirus previously unidentified in humans and which can spread from person Secretary of the NC State Board of Education to enter a copy of this resolution into the official minutes of the NC State Board of Education.
Thank you, Ms. Camden. I'd like to clarify two items on that resolution. The first, whereas it will be changed to reflect COVID-19 as a respiratory disease, and then in the next to the last, whereas we want to make sure that we're clear that that executive order directs that all schools close for students from March 16th through March 30th unless extended otherwise. So before asking for a motion, are there any questions or comments concerning this resolution, which essentially says that the governor made the decision to close the schools, and then these are the actions that the State Board of Education is committing to in order to successfully implement that decision? Any questions or comments from my colleagues? Okay, hearing none, I ask for a motion to approve this resolution.
This is Mr. Ford, so moved. Second, Jim.
Motion to approve, Mr. Ford, second by Mr. Buxton. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, Dr. Townsend Smith, will you call the roll to capture the vote?
Yes, sir. Mr. Buxton,
Yes.
Dr. Oxendine,
Yes.
Ms. Chemnitz,
Yes.
Mr. Hall,
Yes.
Dr. Tipton Rogers,
Yes.
Ms. White,
Yes.
Mr. Ford,
Yes.
Vice Chair Duncan,
Yes.
Chair Davis.
Yes.
It's unanimous.
And Forrest.
Okay, motion
I've
carries.
joined the conference.
Hello, Lieutenant Governor. We were just voting on the resolution. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, sorry I'm late, guys.
That's okay. Would you like to be included in that vote?
I would like to be included, Mr. Chair, thank you.
Lieutenant Governor,
Yeah.
it's unanimous.
Okay, thank you. That concludes our items on our agenda for this meeting. Seeing that we have no other items, I ask for a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion to adjourn, Mr. Chairman.
Motion by Mr. Hall. Is there a second?
Second by Ms. Camden.
Second by Ms. Camden. Dr. Townsend Smith, we call the roll.
Yes, sir. Mr. Buxton,
Yes.
Dr. Oxendine,
Yes.
Ms. Chemnitz,
Yes.
Mr. Hall,
Yes.
Dr. Tipton Rogers,
Yes.
Ms. White,
Yes.
Mr. Ford,
Yes.
Vice Chair Duncan,
Yes.
Chair Davis.
Yes.
It's unanimous.
Thank you. And thank you again, board members, for your flexibility today in meeting twice and getting this important work done.